Yeah.
Did you go woo? Did you woo?
I went, whoa.
Yay.
Yeah. Woohoo. Yay, yay. We're live. Nope. What? Negro. Who's Negro? I don't know.
Thunderwaffle.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what else is in chat there from Starscream. Cocaine shakes all week. 3 sub. Should I do
What,
it? Yeah,
cocaine?
you should. Absolutely. Cocaine shakes? Yeah.
Zed, are you by any chance related to Michael? I need to know this.
Michael Ironside, who we love as an actor here on this show.
Yeah.
Sorry, babe. That's
I had
that.
like a rogue hair on my forehead. That was so weird. Sorry about that, folks. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the June 8th. Can you believe it's June 8th? Yeah. Can you believe it's June 8th already? June 8th.
Don't even.
We're like
It's going too fast for Dirk, right?
I literally, I know exactly where this year went, and at the same time, I have no idea where this year went.
Oh, come on, you were like in a different country every other weekend. Come on, you can't complain here.
True.
He's living
Every other month.
lifestyle.
All right, but you know.
Woe is me with my jet set lifestyle.
Right, it was only every month. Sorry.
Yeah. So we've got Dirk, Eric, Soth, and McLeod today, and we do expect a Barghost to show up later. Barghost, sorry. I want to call him Barghost all the time. But Barghost to...
I've since basically decided not to care about exactly how I pronounce his name because I always get it fucking wrong.
I mean his name is Barghost. He renamed himself on Discord as a joke.
Okay.
Well,
all right. So he deserves
renamed himself on
us fucking his
Discord
name
as
up.
a joke.
Yeah.
After I changed his name one Friday night when we were all drunk at Bad Posters.
I gotcha. You know,
But he deserves it. He deserves it, even if we, leveraged it on him in the first place anyway.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
It's
That's
June
exactly
9th.
how this works.
By the way, Ironside said, telling us it's June 9th in AUTZ. So to all our friends over there, happy June 9th. But regardless, almost half the year is over, basically. And, you
That's
know...
fucking scary to me. Like
Scary. Very fucking scary. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But
it's just this just further enforces in my mind that your experience of time is directly related to how much time you've experienced as a person.
That is
as in the longer the older you are, the faster the fucking time flies by.
Neurologically, that's actually been a proven phenomenon. Yeah. It's related to the fact that you have everyday routines, and the more you iterate on those routines and go through the same routine, the less you remember about the specifics of that routine. And so you basically forget more and more about your everyday life the more you do the same things over and over again.
So what you're telling me is,
and so it seems to be going faster.
Since we've been traveling so much in the past year, it should feel slower.
It should feel slower, but also then that bit of like when you go back to your normal life for 3-4 months, that 3 or 4 months feels like it's nothing until you get to the next bit again.
So what you're saying
with a routine at work, maybe.
Well, maybe, yeah.
So what you're saying is when I go out of my routine and go on vacation, that it should seem like a really long time that I'm away on vacation. But it seems like a weekend.
Some of us have jobs where every day is different, which is the nice way of saying every day everything is on fire.
Oh, welcome to IT.
Thank you.
I mean, the idea there, Eric, isn't that it should seem slower, but that you should remember more of it. Like when I say the whole daily routine and stuff, your everyday life of, going to the supermarket or whatever. I'm talking about the spans of like months and years, not just like the last week seems like it was hell because it was on fire, right? Like it compounds over time. But yeah, they've done studies on it, and it's a really interesting neurological phenomenon.
I still want to know why vacation seems like.
But you didn't think that we'd start the show with a neurological kind of analysis of consciousness. So if you had that on the bingo card, you can cross it off. But I highly doubt that you did. So yeah, you know.
I mean, I went to uni to do philosophy and spent a lot of time trying to identify mind versus body stuff because that was kind of my jam. So you know, hey, this is what I like to do in my spare time.
I'm glad that somehow we've had a subject matter expert on this on the show without even realizing.
Call him an expert. Come on.
Well, I mean,
call me an expert at all,
comparatively to like the rest of us, yeah, you are.
Kind of like this is the sort of fun conversations that I like to have. So.
Oh fucking hell!
As opposed to the unfun ones that you have.
And this is just the light-hearted, bantery sort of stuff that you get before the actual content, like the deep, gritty, hard, you know, uncompromising content that we got coming up for you.
You mean the ETH content?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We actually have ETH content today.
Soth hasn't heard that much about the actual like patch notes and stuff, so you know he's going to be providing you your realistic reaction content for the day.
To be fair, I don't think these are technically patch notes.
If I'm not reacting, it's probably because I'm dying in Diablo.
Update notes, whichever.
But they are release notes that they've given us a bit of ahead of time, and then obviously we'll have specific patch notes for whichever version of the patch gets released on Tuesday.
Yeah. By the way,
patch notes.
Just a cool feature tip from me to our viewers.
I think I personally think that the patch is actually half decent, maybe even 2/3 decent.
Well, I can't tell because I haven't looked at it.
Well, here's what's going to happen, Soth. McLeod is going to tell you what you think of it. You're good. You're all good, brother.
I doubt that. Look, McLeod and I we are good friends, but we disagree most of the time.
There's never a situation where I will definitely be able to say you think this way and I'll be correct. This doesn't happen. Like Soth is the wild card in that regard, at least to me. Oh fucking hell! Well, I mean, because there's no Dawn here today.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 10 past, and we might as well get into Eve. Because
where is Dawn today?
I don't know.
Where is
she's? I would say she's missing out on Eve content, but if she comes, then literally by way of her actually being here, would have to delay the Eve content. So she's kind of damned if she does, damned if she doesn't. So.
I do have a couple of bits of feedback that we got from Dawn last night that we can talk about in terms of Dawn being a rabid miner.
Might not like certain aspects of the patch.
Let's not talk about raw quartz.
Well, we'll get there, right? We'll talk about raw quartz by dint of something else.
Or maybe more
or rigs. I don't want to talk about rigs.
Oh god, we're not talking about rigs.
So new Equinox, so basically what happened was, at least the CCP stuff, right? Is CCP did a stream yesterday regarding the essentially breaking down all sorts of different things that are coming down in. With Equinox, but also kind of preempting the notes that they released at the end of it, that they were basically talking and announcing a whole bunch of other additional things to go along with the things that we know that's coming in Equinox. Obviously. They kind of went a little bit into what Equinox, the main kind of things of Equinox. But we saw hang on. Let me find the because I did a little kind of précis of the actual stream. A little further up. Yes, there we are. I have found my notes.
Oh my
All
God, he
right,
has
woohoo! He has
I
notes.
literally have notes from the stream breakdown.
Hold it. Time out.
Yep.
We're not allowed to have notes for this show.
No, it's not notes for the show. It's notes for the stream.
It's not notes for the show. It's notes from the show.
Okay.
Exactly. This is why Soth is here, because he's on the ball with regards to this stuff.
All right, just want to make sure because show preparation is not allowed on Push to Talk. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that.
I'm pretty sure I'm here because no one told me to go away yet.
Well, that's pretty much why we're all here. But before Matt gets into the notes from CCP's stream, Mepper in Twitch chat is asking, start by, does this patch put more shinies in space or not? And the answer to that question is a solid maybe.
So we have
I've seen one of the things they want to do, and the answer is a little bit, depending on the numbers.
Who you are, yeah. It's definitely a solid maybe, but we'll get there. Right, Mac.
Did you get to the Oracle stuff?
Oh God, Dawn's here. We've got 7 minutes to fill now.
Dawn!
We're good.
I was gonna say we
look, Dawn.
We have a quantum conundrum with us.
How many bottles did you have yesterday? You sound like you went to bed 20 minutes ago.
I just woke up.
Or woke up with a hangover.
Yeah.
Or still drunk. One or the other. One of the two.
I'm just going to point out, I started drinking at 3:00 in the afternoon yesterday, and I'm here, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Although I did find a new excellent rum, Pilar.
Okay, well, a new
cherry case.
You gotta send me that.
I was up till 4 a.m. growing a dinosaur. Stewie.
That sounds like that. Honestly, at this particular juncture, this sounds like a euphemism.
I'm not sure we want more information on that. We do want more information on the rum, Eric.
Yes, send us a link to the rum.
I'll send you a link. I'll send you guys a link in staff, and I'll copy the link also into.
By the way, to fill out,
send us a bottle. Works as well.
I don't. By the way, I was told they don't even sell it in my state. We have to get it special delivered.
Germany is rum central of Europe, right?
Cool.
But why? I would say why's the rum gone? But why Germany places?
Because it's a big import-export country, especially to the Americas. And remember where rum usually comes from.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. I was there thinking to myself, like, what feels very Caribbean? Well, not Germany, in my opinion. But all right.
Where has the rum gone? We drank some of it, and the Nissa got some of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You may have to Google that because, that's a thing.
I can tell you where the rum's gone because it's so damn good.
he may like rum. And a bot ghost has appeared as well.
That was me hinting in chat.
Yes, but we like to ignore you until you speak up. You have to stand up for yourself on this show, damn it.
Oh, shut up.
By the way, I had this rum, on the rocks in a glass, and it was just like, it was a combination of rum and almost buttery tasting. It was very weird. It was awesome.
Nice.
A good friend of mine turned them. Oh yeah. Good friend of mine turned me on to it last night. It's awesome. So I got to find, it's called Papa's Pilar, and I'm going to copy that link for everybody. I had the one that is aged in cherry cask, so it has a slight cherry taste to it.
Yeah, see, I'm a bit weirded out because we usually drink Don Papa, which sounds very similar, and they also have a cherry cask.
Cherry's a very common casking for rum, to be fair.
Yeah, but
there we go. I put it in
it's weird
Twitch
that it's
chat.
also a name with Papa in it. But I can see if
apparently
I can
it looks like it was a big. There's an Ernest Hemingway version. There's one finished in French oak casks.
Is there a Jacques Cousteau version?
Dude, I will be having it if it is, because I grew up watching Jacques Cousteau stuff on TV.
I'm trying to figure out where this company is based, because the Hemingway thing is generally a link to Cuba.
Pick it out my webcam.
But yeah, I'm also seeing stuff. You know that bit where we were talking about a FanFest trip next year?
Wait, what?
Zed's bringing rum.
Yeah, there's a fan.
Yeah, so
some of us are going to FanFest.
You might have not heard it yet, Eric, but a bunch of us are going to FanFest.
Oh, I didn't get tickets.
There will probably be
more.
There will probably be some people in the chat that will be like, "Wait, you guys are going to FanFest? Surely that's something that you guys would never have done."
Well, shall we use that as a segue, Mac, for a conversation in a minute?
So what you're saying? When is FanFest again?
Next
May, early May, I think.
First week, like actually 1st of May is the first day.
So 2025.
Not my day.
Yes.
Yeah, there's like
I might be able to make that
11
happen.
months to plan.
I don't know. I don't know if there's still tickets. Like the early bird tickets were going away pretty fast. So yeah, if you're thinking about it, maybe check if there's still early bird tickets.
There are still like tickets at below $200 by the looks.
So below 200, and if I wait even longer, how much will they cost me?
I don't know, like more, somewhat more. Somewhat more.
Since I have never paid for FanFest tickets, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But it's 3
birds
days again.
$195 in dollars. Full ones look to be $295.
Oof.
Thank you very much, by the way. Thank you very much, by the way, to the mob for the sub. 72 months, man. Thank you.
But yeah, I'm here going like viewers are going to FanFest with rum. We may need to find these viewers.
Yeah.
No, these viewers definitely need to find us. Because I'm pretty sure we are easier to find than them.
Well, you will be. You're fucking massive.
Exactly. And you know who's usually by my side?
Yes.
Okay. You know, we are planning on.
If you can't find the massive dude with the other person who looks like a Viking in in the Harper
in a crowd,
then
by the way,
I don't know what to say.
And most
although I would say that might be slightly more difficult than in any other place when you're in Iceland.
See, Doug, I think those T-shirts we plan to make, I think we need to have them in like red or something.
Some sort of brightish color. I'm sort of thinking green, maybe if we could figure something out with green. See,
I hate the color green.
Yeah.
Okay. So, by the way, Papa in the name of the rum is Hemingway, and Pilar was his boat, and it looks like it's based out of Key West, Florida, in the U.S.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like I say, Hemingway has a lot of connections with Cuba, but obviously Key West is right across the strait, basically.
Yes.
Saying that, and considering the sort of stuff that we generally tend to talk about, I would wholeheartedly persuade you not to go, and if you like mojitos, persuade you not to sort of use the premixes that Fever Tree makes for mojitos. It's fucking terrible. Make mojitos the normal way, and probably the best way that I've seen it is just with mint, and you don't even need to muddle it. Like literally, the best way to do.
If I don't have anything to fiddle with while I drink my mojito, it's not a mojito. Okay.
Well, yeah, but you don't need to fiddle with a bottle of like premix. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing to fiddle with.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you know, unless you really like that getting smacked in the face with, like, you know, a inordinate amount of mint flavor when you like, you know, sip on a mojito, then I don't know, maybe that premix might be your kind of thing, but like, it's almost like medicated levels.
We're past the bomb rolls. Back
ludicrous.
to the patch.
I also got like a really cool new joystick as well, which is really cool.
You did actually manage to pick that up.
That's awesome. I did.
What one is that?
Really cool. It is the Gladiator NXT from VKB.
I've not actually heard of that.
It's really good. It's really, really nice.
Mac was
I'll show you how many like.
I was in London last weekend doing some other stuff, and Mac and I met up for a drink or two in the afternoon on Sunday, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm specifically going out to this North London area because I need to pick up a left-handed joystick."
Yeah, exactly. Which is weird. I'm not actually left-handed. Picking up a left-handed joystick. Figure that one out.
Elite Dangerous.
Fuck you.
I knew it the second you said it.
Actually isn't. It's for Star Citizen, but I reacted like you said Star Citizen.
I mean, same basic idea. Because Elite has it one for...
Essentially, yeah.
The controls. 2 joysticks with controls on the spaceship.
I'm actually using mouse and joystick.
Oh,
because that's something that you can do. It's cool. Okay. It's a control sort of setup called HOSAM. So hands on stick and mouse.
Okay.
It's actually pretty cool.
See, now you've got to start playing DCS. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't think that's usual control control configuration that like it works in DCS.
No comment. Well, it is, but it's HOTAS-AM.
Oh, okay.
You've got your hands on your stick, your throttle, and your mouse somehow.
How the fuck is that working?
I don't know.
I'm yeah, okay.
I'm noticing here that in all of these control schemes, your feet are just bored.
Yes, yeah. That I mean,
That's not unusual for games, though.
True.
Most games, at least.
True.
Like it's not like it's a racing game where an actual like you can get pedal and full gear stick setups and everything. Like,
I mean, most sticks you have to twist on anyway for your.
See, Zed's voicing what we were all thinking when you said, like, hands on stick and
oh dear,
throttle and mouse.
Oh god.
Oh dear. All right. Yeah.
Hey, Zed, I am not that short.
At this point, I am going to say, right, fine.
Let's put
Dawn through it for enough, but we've also given her a solid 10 minutes to wake up.
That is also true.
And potentially have some sort of coherent thoughts.
She should be a bit more conscious at this point in time, aren't you?
Sure.
Good. Thank God.
So, Matt,
that didn't sound like it, but okay.
I had a moment where it's like, if you don't actually, reply, then that's going to be pretty bad. Anyway,
so
right, expansion notes.
Before we get into the notes, you wanted to talk about the stream.
Oh yes, stream. So notes on stream, right? So CCP basically had a breakdown of like various different things in the patch, but also some stuff, making some announcements of stuff that's coming with the patch that we haven't heard yet, right? A couple of things, with regards to what happened in the stream that we thought I thought was somewhat noteworthy, right? Well, at around about 10 minutes, Burger basically almost, well, CCP Burger basically almost said that pretty much practically said that live is just the new testing environment, essentially, which is kind of interesting. He also he and Convict referred to siphoning as well. But I think you, Dirk, you had some like additional stuff with regards to that, right?
Yeah,
because they were talking about siphoning from siphoning material like reagents from.
I think that's probably where they were going with that. Yeah. So in terms of talking about we're gonna bounce back and forwards a little bit, I think, with some of CCP's comments and some of the stuff that's going on in the new notes. And just for a start, so you guys know where we're reading some of these notes from, let me drop it in Twitch chat for you. That's actually CCP's expansion notes.
Because to be fair,
obviously, this is a pretty wide-ranging expansion. There's going to be some changes to SOV stuff. There's going to be changes to some moon aspects. There's going to be some balance changes. There's new ships. There's a lot going on.
We were introduced to a new CCP member of CCP as well.
Yes, CCP Okami.
Yeah, he is the new game design director. So there's a game director and now a game design director. The way that he described that was that his kind of job is sort of designing the design team. So basically, he's figuring out who needs to be on the design team in order to complete the objectives that the design team has to sort of complete. Right?
Okay, that's interesting.
Sort of thing.
He's
been at CCP for about 5 months so far.
Let's talk a little bit about the changes to SOV that are coming up, and then let's get back into some of the stream stuff, because there's a couple of factors in your stream notes that I'm thinking will have some.
There's definitely talking points, right? in these notes for sure. So, like me and Bard literally had like a conversation at least a half an hour about like probably one of the most overlooked little bits, like little parts of the patch notes, and
broad strokes changes to SOV. iHub and TCU are steadily going away after the patch is released. So on
there's a transitionary period. There's going to be a fairly lengthy transitionary period, but like you're going to be able to still have like systems that have the traditional TCU and iHub, but if you deploy the new TCU or the new iHub kind of thing, then I think in like sort of on the 20th, like the things start up or whatever, and it swaps over.
Yeah, so just to do some broad strokes, real quick. Let's recap some of the stuff that we've talked about in previous shows.
Or something.
And then, so the TCUs and iHubs are going away steadily over the course of this expansion. They are being replaced by a new structure called a SOV hub. On expansion day, SOV hubs or existing iHubs will be given a makeover. They will have the new SOV hub graphics. They will be moved if they are less than 2 million kilometers away from the sun. So goodbye to the Quern's hardpoint over in is it DTAC-W? Or is it anyway?
1DQ? How long has that been in Eve?
I have heard that there's been some stuff going on in 1DQ.
Do I ever remember where the Quern's hardpoint is? It's a reference to a.
It's like 1 point in an entire game of Eve. How can you forget it?
Because we haven't been playing on track for on.
I haven't been in 1DQ for a while. I've been on like some Saturday Night Swarm stuff in like the low sec and whatever areas, but like I've not been in 1DQ for a while. Anyway, point is these structures, the iHubs, they're going to get the graphical makeover, and after a couple of days, you'll be able to go ahead and switch them over to the new Sov Hub system if you want to. You can keep them as traditional iHub TCU for a while. If you switch them over to the new Sov Hub, you have to deal with the new functions of mining and ratting anomalies, the upgrades. There's a new system of upgrades for iHubs that are different and provide different other benefits. They change the way your anomalies are going to work. So the ones that appear automatically on your probe scanner, they're going to change the way those work into different sites. And you're going to see a lot of changes with the Sov Hub. We still don't quite know how they're going to work in terms of the reinforcement, in terms of how you can affect these Sov Hubs. There's a lot that's yet to be announced about this one.
We assume that it's probably going to be, Age of Sov, as it has been.
That's confirmed, as far as
Is
I'm
it
aware.
confirmed?
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Well, they did, as far as I know, they didn't say it on the stream, and it's not black and white on the patch notes as such. But they must have said it somewhere else, like say on like Reddit or whatever.
Once you switch over to the new Sov Hub as well, the TCU will automatically be replaced, and so there will only be one Sov structure in the system anymore. What this means for groups, for example, coalitions that have one alliance holding the iHub and one alliance holding the TCU, that is going to go away. It's all going to be under the same alliance that holds the iHub. So if you are in one of those alliances that holds a TCU but not an iHub in a system, you may want to go and talk to the owner of the iHub about how they want to address that. There's also going to be these new nullsec only replacements, Sov nullsec only, specifically replacements for customs officers, which are coming down the line, which are called skyhooks. They provide 3 new functions towards the new Sov system. So power, which is held in the same system and limits the amount of upgrades you can put in your Sov Hub. Workforce, which is consumable, can be exported between systems as long as you own those systems, and work to help power those Sov upgrades again. And then reagents, which are used to run specific hub upgrades and also run the new Metanox moon drill. And this is where we get back to the siphoning, because players, these reagents will be able to be transported in freighters and in other ships. You'll be able to move them between systems. You'll be able to sell them on the markets. And also, you will be able to steal reagents from hostile skyhooks. Over the course of a period of 10 minutes, there will be a whole process about it. So immediately, people in the system will be notified if you start stealing from a skyhook.
Up to two systems away, I think. Yeah.
After 2 minutes, every pilot in any system 1 jump away will be told, "Hey, there's a theft happening in this system." After 5 minutes, two jumps away, everybody within 2 jumps will be told there's a theft happening in this system. And after 10 minutes, the theft will be completed. A cargo bay will throw loot out, and anybody can then scoop loot from the thing. And this is a mechanism that is not necessarily the same, but certainly it runs down similar parallels. If anybody ever participated in Moongoo thefts using the old siphons when we were pos mining Moongoo,
I know I did that.
This is a system that seems to fall along similar tracks, right? It's executed slightly differently. You don't need to deploy a separate structure or whatever. But
you don't need to wait for like forever.
Well, you do have to shoot down the skyhook below 10%. Sorry, the skyhook silo. You have to shoot down the silo below 10% shield EHP, and then you can start the theft. But like, yeah, you don't have to wait forever for it to collect or anything. It's a quick fire function. And so it does seem to me like any reference that CCP may be making to siphoning in the stream that they did with Berger and Rotati and a few others may have been a little bit of a slip of the tongue, because that was kind of their internal reference point where they took the idea and where they developed it from, to me.
I mean, it's probably a holdover from old terminology for the same kind of system.
Yeah, and I mean, we're all going to call it siphoning again anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, what else would we call that?
Yeah, I think kind of like,
you know what? I'm just going to jump in quick, Max. Sorry.
Yeah.
The new sovereignty hubs. What are we going to call them? We don't have a convenient short name for them. Shubs,
like Sov hubs, or I mean, I'm fairly certain everybody's just going to call them iHubs still, but you know.
Yeah, there'll be iHubs or there'll be Sov hubs, or like Sov hub is nice, quick, easy, short.
Yeah, it's not much more than iHub.
It tells you exactly what it does. It differentiates between the Sov hub and the iHub for, the next few months, however long it's going to be until CCP say no, everybody has to cut over. So, yeah.
Come on, let's be honest. Someone's going to call it something funny, and then everyone else is going to jump on it, and it's going to become the new name. It's
that will also happen at some point. Yeah, probably. Sven Vico is suggesting we shouldn't call it siphoning, we should call it suckling.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Did you guys already talk about the MJD stuff and the?
We haven't quite got there yet.
Okay. We'll get to that. We'll get to it.
But I mean, it's fairly close in the notes that you have for the stream, Matt. So like, CCP Rotati and CCP Convict saying they want to increase complexity of logistics, but not by much, because they don't want logistics directors hating life. That seems like a kind of hint at the only thing you're going to have to physically move around now is the reagents and also fuel blocks. There had been a suggestion at one point where the workforce would also have to be moved around by ships. And
my understanding is that's going to be on the structure.
It's now going to be on the structure. They've announced it in the patch.
There is a structure kind of thing, and also, to be fair, the lore style kind of like trailers that they've had was very much talking about cloning tech, right? And to be fair, like it would basically just be like transport of consciousness to new clones at a different location.
Yeah.
So you don't need to actually move them physically. They'll just clone to the next to the location that they need to, or that they're being sent to, kind of thing.
Well, you might have to do a setting, but
you'll have to set it up so transfer some workers from this iHub location to this other iHub location. Right?
Brand makes a point. I didn't actually see any reference to ISK charges.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard about ISK, kind of like the charging ISK for, like the fact that like sovereignty costs money in some way, shape, or like directly. It doesn't seem to be, or at least I've heard that it doesn't seem to be a thing in this. So the cost is going to be literally the fueling of it with reagents and fuel blocks, and that's going to be basically it.
So the closest thing to an ISK sink there will be taxes, if you buy the materials off the market instead of
essentially, I believe. But having a thriving market in your, inside of your space is probably a good idea in general.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling through. I don't remember reading anything about ISK charges for Sov in the notes, and I'm scrolling through again, and definitely, yeah, I'm not seeing anything here again. So, yeah, this could be a very interesting, as Harabrand says. If that's correct, then that's potentially, a trillion ISK a month, not leaving the economy directly to CCP's pockets and going somewhere else. So that's going to be an interesting impact, perhaps.
Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I don't know. I would have to see how what Oz thinks of that in that regard. I know that he seems to be quite positive about the expansion. So
it's also worth noting, just real quick, for anybody listening and thinking about switching over their iHubs to the new Sov hubs early on, following Tuesday's patch, CCP will not be enabling installation or functions of Sov upgrades in Sov hubs until the 20th of June. So a week after the patch. So basically, don't switch them over from iHub legacy mode to Sov mode, if you even can, and it wouldn't surprise me if you can on day one because CCP. But don't do it for a week. Build your upgrades, yeah, sure, but don't flick any buttons until after the 20th.
I would, if you
give it time.
If you can, I personally, I would find an area of space that isn't critical in any way, shape, or form to, your defense of your region or defense of your space, and kind of have a look. Players consider playing about with the system in those areas just to see that if you fuck it up,
play it slow.
It's not a big
sure
issue.
You understand it.
Yeah,
as I've noted before I disappeared off for a couple of weeks, the last couple of weeks, we have had no testing time. CCP has not given players. They have given some, as I understand it, alliance leaders and alliance logistics directors a little bit of time on a test server to kind of poke around, but they haven't necessarily released it to players to break, figure out how it works, what the strategies are, or how you should approach running these things, where the efficiencies are. So do spend some time playing it slow and figuring it out in non-critical systems.
Exactly.
Because you may come to regret it if you just flick everywhere over and suddenly your space is dog shit.
Yeah.
Or you find that because that's the thing, right? And this is the thing that we've said in the previous show and the show before that, and that what was it? That Berger kind of said as well, sort of, or implied at least in the stream, is we haven't really had a chance to test this. It seems as though CCP is deciding that live is just the new testing environment for this. So it's kind of like the last thing you want is to decide to use this in a critical area of your space and then find out that not only is it awkward to use or there's, it's not as defendable as you thought, but that there's a bug in the system that CCP hasn't realized, and other people have realized and are suddenly deciding to exploit that particular bug in your space, which would not be a good idea. So, non-critical systems, please.
Is it exploiting at that point? I mean, if CCP are telling us, no, this has been tested for months on TQ, then anything that's left, I would say you could consider being deliberate, right?
Well,
it's not a bug.
It's a feature, not a bug, until CCP states specifically that it is an exploitable bug, and that's exactly. that's exactly when that particular time changes. And if you carry on on exploiting it, then you might actually be, subject to CCP doing something to your account.
And for anyone wondering, that is why Dirk went on a long rant about testing, because that makes this so dangerous to do this without any mass tests or similar stuff, right?
Yeah, like Commander Starscream in the Twitch chat saying it's funny if CCP hasn't even tested it internally. It would be funny if they hadn't tested it internally. I don't believe that is the case.
No.
However,
I
what
have
I
a
do
feeling they
very
have.
strongly believe is that CCP's internal testers do not have anywhere near the brain trust or the wherewithal or the sheer level of determination of the player base to identify efficiencies, identify bugs that can be abused, and just identify mechanics that they didn't even see coming in order to utilize these situations that we do, right? Like every single time CCP comes out with a thing and they go, oh yeah, this is going to be great, it's going to be a real challenge for players and blah and blah and blah. And within like 3 weeks it's solved.
Yeah.
Right? CCP do not have the same level of gameplay testing ability as the player base does. And CCP don't particularly appreciate that, but also they don't particularly appreciate being told, hey, these are bugs on Singularity, and, you know, you report the bug on Singularity, and 2 months later, the bug is still there when it's released to TQ.
Or you get told, it's a feature, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to use it until you tell me I can't.
And eventually they get around to realizing, oh god, this is broken as shit. You can't use this. But it takes a while.
Very much like how raw calls were introduced, and very much how I feel the new freighter is going to be introduced. Right, like it's broken. We've told CCP it's broken, and clearly they have decided not to actually fix anything that we considered it to be broken about.
We can tell CCP until we are blue in the face that this is why we think this is broken, and this is how we will abuse this ship. And CCP will never listen until they see it live. It's mind-boggling.
Maybe that's the reason why they've just decided, fuck it, live's going to be the new testing environment.
I mean, as we say in IT, never not test on prod.
So,
yeah.
But we did touch on Rorquals. We did touch on Rorquals there, and I'm sure Dawn will have a meeting tonight.
No, I think we should probably be nice to actually go into Rorquals and the issues that might be concerning her, and that's down to that's down to a new kind of feature that they've recently sort of said talked about.
So Dawn, let's let Dawn explain in her own words first. Dawn, what's got you concerned about this patch?
What's irking you?
Oh, well, I'm on my phone, so I might cut out a bit.
That's fine.
So I won't. So basically, they've added in a new jump drive, micro jump drive for carriers specifically. One of it's the compact micro jump drive, or combined micro jump, whatever it's called.
Micro jump field generator.
There we go.
Yeah, they've got a jump drive and a jump field generator, and that's the jump field generator is the one that really concerns you, isn't it?
I mean, I'm not concerned. It's just more of like, why? So the field generator is like makes a carrier like a command destroyer, where it can boosh off a group of ships from one point to another instantly. I mean, it's got a spool up time of 6 seconds, but then you're in one spot across, and then you're in another spot across the grid. Normal MJDs from Booshers are 100 kilometers. For the carrier, it's 250. And the reason why that's a little is concerning is because the special note that they put in there saying it can move sieged dreads and Rorquals and faxes. So now you've got the potential for a carrier to be dropped in, MJD your Rorqual or your dread or whatever, 250 kilometers away, and then they can actually just warp away.
Yeah. And you could be in the middle of your indie cycle when that's happening, And I think one of the things that people who fly raw calls are kind of concerned about is, the fact that your lock range in order to lock the range at which you need to be at in order to have a lock on a rock and be able to use your
Panic.
panic. Yeah, your panic
Not
module.
at the disco, but at the mining site.
Panic
Yeah, so you won't be able to,
because you're being dropped.
So basically, it's entirely possible that you may be boosted by a carrier far enough away that you can't use your panic.
So the Rorqual's lock range is 300 kilometers. So they have to damp you or they got to boost you twice.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah. I was looking at but you can get damped. So Rorquals are very resistant to E-War, but they are only 90% resistant. So if you break, and the thing is the carrier can bring 30 subcaps with it when it's boosting. So it could, if it came in with its other ability that it just got, which is conduit jumping, they're gonna make a Black Ops carrier. I know it. Basically, the carriers now can also conduit jump, which is jumping with them and their 50 best friends into on top of wherever they're siloing. So they could bring a little fleet of bombers plus some dampeners to reduce your lock range and make it so you can't hold the rock lock and make it so you can't panic. Your only defense is to panic immediately.
There are a couple of specific details that I do want to point out on the way these mechanisms are going to work, right? So Dawn mentioned the carrier conduit jump. This is a cool new thing. I think carriers should have had this for a long time, but
I like it. I think it's a very good idea.
I like it. I think it was one of those things that it is basically an improved version of, or a more usable version of that thing that they fucking released for super carriers, which I feel like nobody really ever used.
The thing about the carrier conduit jump, it's very skill restricted. You will be able to jump and take 5 to 30 players in the tunnel with you. So this is all governed by skills. You have to have jump portal generation 5 to even use the ability on carriers. And then you have capital jump portal generation, and it will, obviously, for each level of the skill, you will be able to take more players through the jump tunnel.
Yeah, it's like an additional 5 each level, and you start off if you have the skills, except you don't have that particular skill at 0 at 1. You can still boost. You can still portal. You can
still
5.
use the portal, yes.
But
that's my understanding as well. And then when it comes to capital micro jump drives and micro jump field generators, these are 2 separate modules. So there is the micro jump drive, which is just, hey, the carrier, which can fit this new capital size module, will jump 250 kilometers in whatever direction it's facing. This is exactly the same as we've seen on battle cruisers for a long time, and battleships as well. The capital micro jump field generator, as Dawn says, it's very similar to a command destroyer's micro jump field generator module, only it's only able to be fit to carriers. This will jump the carrier that fits the module up to 4 carriers or other capital ships around it. So you could use this to jump, a sieged fax to somewhere. Or
a bunch of siege dreads, yeah.
Yeah. And you can also take up to 50 extra sub-capitals along with you on the ride. So there's some sort of play options here, obviously, to move, such as Rorquals or sieged dreads away from a fight. There's also some counterplay options in which a carrier could potentially jump part of a defense fleet to that previously moved sieged dreadnought and take on a fight at the dreadnought rather than.
So the other
you can go one better than that, Derek.
The other
you could jump 4 faxes with you and subcaps onto point targets and use that as a little wing of a fleet. to
Yeah.
take
You
stuff
can
out.
you could also, in defense of say a Fortizar, for example, you could potentially, if you don't have, or if you didn't have the opportunity to be able to like set up say long range snipe points for long range dreads, you could literally just use these on the like while still pretty much almost tethered, like literally just break tether lock and then boost these like 2 or 3 groups to opposite sides, and then have long range dreads firing at different points.
And then the carriers can have
There's a bunch of
boost
different
on
things
them.
you can do.
Yeah, and CCP do specifically say in their notes that they feel like carriers have been struggling to find a healthy spot in the ecosystem for a while now.
I wonder why.
And, that bit where adjustments to things like rapid light cruisers and the application of fighters, they've not really had a particularly great role. And also the changes that have been made to Marauders and Dreadnoughts mean that, for PvE, crab beacons, Haven, Sanctum ratting, and also PvP for, capital and sub-capital fights, there's not been much of a space for a carrier. And so they wanted to kind of give them a bit more fleet support roles, and also, do it in kind of an interesting way. Like this conduit jump thing, especially, I think is really cool.
Conduit jump sounds interesting. Yeah, I'm still in two minds about the micro jump, like the capital micro jump field generator. Like it depends. I can see it being a very interesting way of being able to fuck with people's sieges of
it feels like
infrastructure and stuff.
Trying to make carrier spearfishing a thing, but it's so susceptible to a single Atron fucking it up.
I
don't think spearfishing is what they want to do. I think it's the other way. Moving a carrier and 4 faxes and then 50 Leshaks as a wing around the grid and having 5 wings per fleet.
Yeah, but that once again, one Atron with the fucking scram can ruin that whole thing. So
sure, for one group, but if you've got the Leshaks there, you've got drones and you can deal with that.
So that's another aspect. That's an aspect of this that we haven't really kind of said is, in the same way that like sub-capital boosting can be screwed over by, or can be negated by somebody scramming a target. So for example, a scram target, if you try and boost a scram target, it doesn't get boosted, right? It doesn't go that 100 kilometers when the micro jump field generator actually activates. In the same way and in the same manner, if you have a scram on a capital, when a carrier's capital micro jump field generator actually goes off, it doesn't get taken 250 kilometers. It stays where it is.
Did you read the little bit where if the carrier who's booshing turns on their NSA, they get to stay there and their buddies that they're booshing go away?
I didn't see the. I actually think I read that. I wasn't sure.
No. That's not what it says.
Oh.
What it says specifically is the networked sensor array will block the activation of a CMJD or CMJFG module by the ship that it is activated on. A carrier may still be moved by another ship activating a jump field generator while its NSA is active.
Oh, I say. So what you're saying is
it doesn't say that if you turn on your NSA and have a jump field generator cycling, you will still stay there and everybody else will move. What it says is if you have an NSA active, it doesn't stop you being moved.
I'm betting it's still gonna be fucked up and work that way.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be some fuck up in some way with things moving / not moving. But one of the things that I know that I said, and I'm fairly certain some other people may have said that like it may end up being a thing that you have changes to changes to dread fits that have scrams to scram chain. But the other kind of thing is, if you're in siege, you can't scram like something that's sieged. Like, as far as I know, right? Like that's still a thing.
What are you talking about?
Scramming something that's in siege.
Uh,
As far as I know, that's something that you can't do. You can't activate the module. But there's really no point to activating that module because that ship isn't going anywhere anyway, right? But like in this situation now, you'll be able to be like boost off 250 kilometers.
Are you trying to say that like you
even
can't
if you're in
activate
siege.
a scram on a siege dread? Like,
Yes, what I'm saying is the situation where if you have like a group of like a dread bomb that has basically that lands sieges, there's no point trying to like scram chain because you can't actually fucking set scrams on anybody. Is what I'm saying.
I've never paid
I'm
attention.
not sure. You should be able to scram a siege
Yeah,
dread.
I thought you could, but I've never paid that much attention.
Well, I mean, either case, if you can scram a dread, then it makes sense that like siege dread fits are going to basically have a change where they're all going to have a scram, and you're going to have scram chains like as a separate thing to basically prevent being boosted off in this particular way. But I have a feeling that that's not going to be the case because I have a feeling that you can't actually scram a siege dread. But I haven't tried doing it for a long fucking time, so I don't know.
All right, I'm off to my meeting. You guys can talk about whatever else you want.
Enjoy.
Have a good meeting. See you.
All right, Max. We talk about our little subtle change in the patch notes.
I guess we can. Yeah.
Right. Let me bring them
why
up.
not? Like, let's bring up the subtle change.
So, I kind of want to hear what Erik and Soft have to say as we read it, because...
Remind me again what it fucking was about, like, specifically?
Yeah, I got to get to it first.
I just want to, I'm wondering where in the sort of, like, in the
under the
stream
PvE
breakdown
section.
we're at.
Oh, I'm not looking at the stream, I'm looking at the patch notes.
Oh, okay.
So, which segment? PvE.
PvE.
Down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Triglavian minor victory systems.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes.
So this is such a like a okay, whatever. Like sort
this is
of
a
little
thing,
thing, right?
You don't think twice about it.
But it may indicate something in terms of CCP's, ideas or lack of ideas. Because essentially what they're trying to say is what's going on there is, do you want to go into it?
And then
I think, bearing in mind you have more of a handle on it, you should probably explain it.
No,
I'll
that's
fuck
fine.
it up.
So the patch notes, I'll try and shorten them, but it's basically Warposts and their deployment fleets no longer attack players with 0 standing. Right, so that problem of them attacking anyone who was new or hadn't interacted with rogue drones.
Yeah, so if you're going through like wormhole, not wormholes, but if you're going through high-sec space, every so often you may end up going through a system that is, technically Triglavian held in or contested by Triglavians, right? And generally they'll have like little guns that may very well attack you when you decloak.
Yeah,
this is the sort of area that we're talking about.
And then we've got weapon damage ramp up time for Warposts has been lengthened.
Yeah, so those are the guns
less
on this
damage, and you got more time to get off grid. They're not as scary. Warposts now feature a bounty upon destruction, giving you incentive to kill them. And the reinforcement fleets for the Warposts have been scaled back in difficulty, so it's easier to kill them.
So in general, going through those systems are going to be less scary, and if you're going to try and blow them up, they're going to do less damage to you, and you're going to get something from them because they'll give you a bounty.
We've then got the interval at which new Warposts will be deployed has been increased. So once you destroy them, they're coming back less. And then the final big one, which is the one that really caps this off. The Triglavian Collective will no longer deploy warposts at stargates, stations, and upwell structures in minor victory systems. So once they're destroyed, because of the new bounty and their weaker reinforcements, they're gone from the game in those systems permanently.
Well, that's not actually what it's saying.
I mean, that was the kind of read that I got as well.
What it's saying is what it's saying is that these warposts will no longer be at places where you would expect players to be in these systems during the course of everyday gameplay.
Yeah, essentially.
Right, but that's the only places they were really ever deployed, Derek.
Were.
Well, okay, we might have a change.
Changing.
Right. Oh, I think maybe in Belt was the only other place. So maybe they remain in Belt in minor victory systems.
Because, I mean, there is a note in that says that the interval at which new warposts will be deployed has been increased. So that does mean that new ones will still be coming into the game. They just won't be at these places that these players...
I would be careful with that because CCP in the past have done changes that led to unexpected events, right? For example, that you could no longer get any of the NPC miners because
they changed how
belts worked, yes, and there wasn't enough ore in a single belt for them to do their thing.
Yeah, to spawn.
So the point I'm trying to get to here, I want to drag this back a bit, is not that they're not going to exist at all. It's more that they are not going to exist on the routes. You can cleanly get through a system now if you're going system to system.
I mean, that's nice.
That's nice. I mean, this is why it's a subtle point of the patch notes that is completely overlooked. Because this was half the point of them. Adding risk to HiSec was half of their goal. That's gone. We are rolling back trig stuff now.
Yeah, it's kind of gone, but it's also gone in a sort of like a whimper rather than a kind of an interesting way of doing it, right? Because it's like, once it's gone, it doesn't, like, from those routes, it doesn't appear. But like, it's now scaled back down, like right down in terms of difficulty to remove them. So it's not like it's, it's not like a laudable goal to be able to do it because it's super fucking easy.
Yeah.
It could have been something a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I mean...
Rudolph, I know your point. However, this isn't a patch that's gone live yet. So that's already in the game. This won't change that. And Hirebrand, no, this is going to remove them from Pocos because it... Actually, no, I'm an idiot. It won't remove them from Pocos. Sorry, I was reading stations as structures.
Yeah, it's that bit of like, these are very specific places, but like,
it's the transit routes.
In terms of where people will start and end a journey from, rather than stop off for a minute at a time or whatever.
Yes.
And as for many more belts, much more frequently now. But that wasn't the case when CCP made the change directly. They did have to go back in and adjust that, rebalance that. It's not an unusual thing for CCP to do, to be either overzealous or underzealous and get it wrong the first pass. Which kind of swings back to the idea of potentially, testing your changes and taking on feedback and iterating before launch. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this idea before.
I don't think you've ever said it before, Dirk. I don't know. This is a new thing from you.
What's this T thing you're talking about?
Testing?
Never heard of it.
Taking something to live straight away.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
That's the T thing that you're on about. I'm certain of it.
Yes.
Do we want to touch on the wormhole PvE changes?
Oh, I mean, I've heard that there's salt coming from wormholers for this, but to be completely honest, I'm fine with it.
Are you telling me that this time wormholers are getting nerfed deliberately instead of
No, not at all.
Being
Soft.
collateral damage.
Not at
Here's
all.
the thing
Not
that
at all.
gets me, Soft.
The taps have not been turned in any way, shape, or form.
No, they genuinely haven't.
This is the interesting thing. It's a case of this is a change that CCP has kind of seen we don't have to directly turn anything. We can turn something tertiary to it or fix something tertiary to it, and it'll affect it.
There is a lovely quote.
It's an interesting. This is an interesting moment in CCP's history where they've realised that they can affect something indirectly.
Yes, but they are doing it deliberately. I didn't say directly.
No.
I said deliberately.
Soft. There is a lovely quote from CCP Ratati in Mac's little précis of what happened during their live stream just the other day.
It may not be verbatim.
CCP Ratati is reiterating that they're happy at reducing the wormhole ISK faucet. Instead of a straight nerf, just add more risk and more commitment requirements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what they're doing here. So what they're doing here is suggesting that a capital ship must be present, and this is specifically for C5 and C6 capital escalations. But a capital ship must be present in sites prior to the appearance of the decloaked transmission relay in order to trigger the Eurythmus Tyrannos spawn in a C5 or C6 anomaly. And any escalation waves for that capital escalation, including the Eurythmus Tyrannos, will despawn if capital ships either leave the site or stray further than 100 kilometers from a site's warp-in point.
Mm-hmm.
And also, finally, Lancer Dreadnoughts will now trigger escalation waves and cosmic anomalies and cosmic signatures. Which, they should have really have been triggering the escalations from their introduction.
Yep.
They're a capital ship, CCP, come on. But, hey,
They
fix that minor little thing.
They didn't click that button in the code. That's all.
The thing that gets me with this is this didn't really harm a lot of the higher end wormholers who have their farm holes and have their dreads already.
Yeah, the idea is
pulling up ladders again.
Well, it's not pulling up ladders. Like, I think the people who are running the sites at the moment, still have those dreads in those holes, or whatever in those holes.
They're also not making it any harder for you to get these farm holes set up or anything. All they are saying is that if you want these escalations, you have to put something on grids.
Well, no, you have to keep something.
You have to keep it there.
That's the important thing. Is you have to keep it there.
You have to leave it hanging out as a potential risk factor rather than triggering the escalation, and then if somebody turns up, warp it off, but the escalation is still there because the rats have been spawned.
If you warp it off, it despawns now.
It's despawning now. It's turning off the level of it's turning up the level of exposure you need to give your capitals in order to make that money. So you can still make the same amount of money. You just have to potentially risk losing more capitals.
I'm going to change your argument a bit there, though, Dirk. They can make more money because it means those that are in smaller groups that would go day tripping into a C5 farm hole and nibble on some C5s that not C5 sites or C6 sites that were there with the escalations can't do that anymore because you have to be in that system with a dread committed. You can't just day trip into someone else's wormhole and steal their drifters.
Well, the thing is, you're still in the site. You're still activating that site with a capital. So you're still there with a capital. The only thing is previously you were putting the capital into the site and then putting it off into a safe spot and then cloaking it up, kind of thing. But you're still in that hole. You're still in that hole. Yeah, you're still in that hole. There's just more risk, and to be honest, the intention for that site was for you to put a capital at risk at all times.
For that escalation, yes.
The funny thing is, like, I mean, even some people in my alliance were like, oh no, they nerfed my infinite blue loot machine for little risk. So they know. Everybody who runs that site, that site, the way that people run that particular site at this point in time, know how overpowered and how little risk is going on. With that money making machine. So
I don't think it's going to change anything, though. Honestly, because it means, like I say, it means that
I think there's going to be. I don't think there's going to be. There's people are still going to make ISK, but the people who are still going to make ISK are going to be the people who, have the ability to be able to confidently, control the wormhole site, the wormhole and the site, right? And to that, that's fine. To me, that's fine. But the level of risk has gone up. So what I'm hoping to see is more, capital kills in wormhole space.
I don't think that's going to happen, though, Matt. Because, like I say, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think there's going to be a significant increase, but I think that there's going to be a bit of an increase in some way. I don't think there's going to be much at all. People know how to lock their wormholes down already anyway. So all this is going to be is you now let your C5 sites pile up for a little bit longer. And then when you finally come to do them, you actually have more there than normal because somebody from a nearby hole hasn't come into yours with marauders for a day trip and nicked your sites. You now have them all there and you do them in one night, in one go, whilst it's quiet, and you can lock down your wormhole and have that dread out safely.
Yeah, but what the other kind of thing is, it also means that there is an incentive for you to do a little bit more to get set up inside of somebody's, PvE hole, right? Because there will be those there will be the option for those capital kills. So
if you want to commit to it, yes. But again, that's forcing people to commit to get the kills.
Yeah, and
you can already have to be inside there, but they aren't going to bring that out if you're inside there.
But this is in keeping with.
How do they know you're inside there?
Well, how are you going to get a dread in?
Why do you need a dread in?
You need a capital of some form.
You're going to need a capital of some form.
Typically, people use dreads
to nick it out from under them.
I'm not talking about nicking it out. I'm talking about killing their dreads.
Right.
Yeah, you don't need a capital to kill dread.
Sure, but they'll figure it out that there's people around. I've
spent hours and hours before preparing hot drops on people running incursions. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time to set up, and it can go very, very wrong. Or the people running might just dock up for the day because they think something's funny.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the same deal, right? It is it takes a lot of effort to set up, but when it works, it is fucking rewarding. And because of that, you can bet there's a few people who will try to do it. Will it become a regular thing? I don't think so, because there are way easier drops you can set up that are potentially even bigger, right?
I'm
pretty sure people would try it.
What the hell are you listening to?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not listening to anything.
We're getting some background noise from your mic, and it sounds like it's some sort of environmental show or something.
Is it gone now?
It is gone now. Yes.
Weird.
That's so strange.
I didn't hear a single thing.
You got headphones in, mind you.
I do.
Right. So we've touched the wormholes.
And he's getting old.
I'm getting old.
Yeah.
I am going to say though, I do want to touch on something else that's coming in this this patch that I do think is primarily going to be used by wormholers and probably not many other people in a broader sense. And that is the new Ship Loss Corporation project, which will allow people to receive money direct from their corporation wallets in exchange for having lost ships. And the reason I say that this is going to be used by wormholers primarily, and probably only defensively as well, as opposed to being used by, for example, larger nullsec organizations, is the way you configure the project. So you select that you can have a ship loss, and then within that, you can have a specific capsuleer project. So this project is only available to X character, or this project is available to my corporation, for example, Karma Fleet. You then type in the ship name that you want, which is an optional field, and you can type in the solar system, which is an optional field, and then the total number of ships. Then you provide a description, then you provide the optional payment, and you create the project. Now, the thing about this is that alliances that do SRP programs have a variety of functions that they review in order to provide a payout, right? So, for example, they will make sure that the ship that you are flying meets very specific fitting standards. So your Hurricane has to be fit with the following, as the meme goes. They also will make sure that when you get that SRP for that ship that you were flying that was fit with the following, you were flying it in a fleet that was actually being SRP'd, or you were actually having a fight with somebody somewhere that mattered. In Goonswarm, obviously, we also have the quote-unquote peacetime or shit stack reimbursement, which is, hey, go lose ships flying in PvP in basically the arse end of wherever, and you get a basic payout. But this is all reliant on the fact that these kill mails get checked, right? An actual person takes a look at the kill mail, goes, oh, yes, this looks valid, this fit is not a complete shit show.
An actual person goes, what the fuck, Johnny Run? No.
Also, a person goes, what the fuck, Johnny Run? No. And they either put a yes stamp or a denied stamp on that SRP. In this system, it's one of those situations where it's automated by the machine. As long as you lose your Hurricane in not necessarily a specific solar system, but potentially, you're looking to have a fight in F4R2. As long as you lose your Hurricane in F4R2, you get paid. Doesn't matter how you're fit, doesn't matter who you lost the ship to. You know, if you lose a ship because you were being an asshole and your FC shot you to get you out of his fleet,
I would never do that.
You don't get SRP, as it happens. But under this new system, in-game system, you would. So, like, for smaller corporations who are doing some basic stuff, like, okay, somebody lost a ship bashing an Astrahoos, or, like, wormholers who are building up SRP replacement situations for their home defense fleet that they only ever use in their home wormhole. If, you know, and that's probably a rarer thing. It's been a while since I've been in wormholes, but, like, it's probably unlikely that they would have, yes, this is our only home defense fleet kind of thing. But it's just that bit of, like, it's such a basic system that it misses a lot of the nuance of player-run SRP. And so it's nice for the smaller corporations, I will say that. You know, CCP have helped them not have to have a tracking spreadsheet or a system based on ESI pulls or whatever. They've lowered the barrier of entry to it. But in terms of its actual usefulness as you start to grow as an organization and as you scale as an organization, people are going to start hitting speed bumps using this in-game method of SRP fairly quickly.
Yeah,
So,
I do feel like that's going to be the case. Depending on how like loose you can kind of make this, it might be kind of interesting because you never know. Like Pando might actually be able to get automatic SRP on his ult that he leaves on gates and stuff.
I mean, like
and get shot and killed by NPCs. Like depending if you
that
set
probably
it up,
would be a thing, right? Like so,
yeah, like you can just get his automatic SRP straight away. So.
You could set it up as a core project where Pando's ult name, insert Pando's ult name,
Mac.
insert his scouting ship type, leave the solar system blank, and just have like total ships lost, like 1, and then the description is just Pando lost another fucking raptor, right? And he gets paid £30 million for 30 million ISK for his raptor dying on a gate.
Look, there's an old saying in the recon sig that might be a bit dated by now. If you've never lost a recon ship to a POS, an ungunned POS, you're not a real recon pilot.
That makes a bit of sense, yeah.
Well, I mean,
you didn't lose it. You didn't lose it to the POS, but you ended up straying too close to the fucking field that you got decloaked, and then somebody came around, noticed, and shot you up.
No. You strayed too close to the shields, got decloaked, didn't notice it, and then after like 60 seconds, the POS started shooting you.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that the POS didn't kill you. It's like, oh, okay.
No, the POS did kill you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
When he said ungunned, what he meant is nobody was there.
Oh, nobody was actually there.
Shooting you.
Yes, because if
the
someone's gunning,
system got you.
Yeah, if someone's gunning the POS, then they can lock you up immediately. If no one's gunning the POS, then it takes a while before it actually starts shooting you.
I've definitely done the fuck, my ult's been uncloaked for ages. Like, what the fuck happened there?
I don't want to think about the number of
times
interceptors I've lost on gates and what have you. It's just a fact of life after a certain point that when you're bouncing through various numbers of ults, FCing fleets, one of them is going to get forgotten about at some point, and it's going to die.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, will say it is cool that CCP are trying to lower the barrier of entry. And they are trying to make it so that you don't need this significant level of infrastructure and the significant amount of time that players have to put into the paperwork, basically. But once you start hitting larger scales, the paperwork becomes a requirement. You have to have the tracking. You have to know where the money's going, why it's going there.
I definitely feel like they should expand this, right? Give us more options. Give us some way of almost scripting things, right?
So I think one of the things that I think we talked about and you sort of said I thought was a really, really good idea. And if they don't have it implemented already, then they should do. But have like an inversion kind of thing. So instead of being destroyed in this system or being destroyed in this region, be destroyed in anywhere other than this region or other than this system.
Yeah.
Or, other than these people, right?
Exclusion zones as well as inclusion zones. So you get paid out if you lose your hurricane fighting Pandemic Horde, but you don't get paid out if you lose them fighting, I don't fucking know. Whichever shitty alliances in the southeast.
Pretty easy example you already gave us. Like, if you get shot by your own FC, you don't get paid out, right?
Yeah, if you die to somebody within your own alliance, no payout. Yeah.
Because, inclusion rules and exclusion rules make it very easy to be able to narrow that focus in very, very well.
I mean, you still got the problem of checking fits.
I think there's a couple of interesting comments in Twitch chat about the Corp SRP thing as well. Corp Project SRP is a reasonable replacement for Shitstack. If somebody abuses it, then just kick them from Corp. The response being, if you want to abuse an SRP program, you definitely don't have an alliance heart and should be removed from any alliance just because of that. Even thinking about it should be enough reason, IMO. I mean, I love the sentiment, but when you run organizations, when you've spent time managing these organizations or any events or what have you,
the issue there is
you have to start figuring out how people are gonna get around your rules or make.
No, it's not even that, Doug. They might not even be doing it deliberately, right? It's an automated system, so if they check the boxes, they get paid out.
Sometimes you have to figure out whether the what's happening is attributed to malice or just stupidity,
or just an accident. Like it's not necessarily even stupidity. Just somebody was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they accidentally got money. They weren't even trying. They were just like, "What the fuck happened? Why did I get money?" And Jado44 saying, "So manual SRP when the bombers point the wrong way." Yes, always manual SRP when the bombers are pointing the wrong way.
Yes.
So, come on, we can get more specific. Manual SRP when boat is the one seeing the bombers.
I will say there was one point where I got bombed by boat, and I was brawling, so the bombs were still pointing the right way. He actually bombed where he was supposed to be bombing. He just also bombed us at the same time because fuck it.
Look, there was a situation in the past when I was trying to assist somebody, and all I had was a bomber with a bomb, and the only thing I could do was attempt to assist in this dude getting attacked by a smaller ship by just bombing both of them. Right?
Okay. Which one of you guys?
But I said,
which one of you guys played Rainbow Six Siege back in the old days?
God.
No.
Alright, this is going to be an interesting one.
Bode is a Capcom main.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
Okay.
But that's going to be lost on a lot of people.
But the few that it's not lost on it's worth it.
Capcom is known for is an operator known for killing everyone. Hostiles, friendlies, like the hostages, everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
just no remorse.
It's basically like slap a motion detector charge next to a door or whatever, and the motion doesn't matter. Like there is motion. Boom.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about what was that Capcom? No, I'm talking about the.
Is that not called Capcom?
I might be mixing up operators here. I haven't played it in a while. I'm talking about the attacker with the mines going through windows.
Oh, no, I do.
Or the grenades going through windows.
I think that's somebody separate. Yeah.
Might be. Again, I haven't played it in a long time.
Either way, like Capcom did not fuck around, and you would still die to Capcom's shit. But yeah, so that whole Corp SRP thing, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I do think any sort of scale, once you start talking about more than the number of people that you know personally, right? Like, if it's a corp of 10 of you and everybody flies together fairly regularly and you're all good friends, it'll be just fine for your purposes.
Yeah.
But the moment you start to talk about 50, 75, 100 individual people, and potentially trying to grow your corporation, it's going to start... it's going to start getting unfeasible to use the in-game methodology.
It definitely helps with that kind of like that awkward kind of middle ground section of a corporation in terms of size, right? Like where, the people who have the purse strings to the corp wallet, are few and far between. But there's stuff that's going on that requires people to like be paid out for SRP, for example. But there's not that many people on that often that have the access to the corp wallet, right? To be able to do that. So it fits that middle ground where that situation kind of causes people to be like, I'm just not getting enough money to be able to like
bit of a
constantly
stopgap kind of
situation. That sort of thing. That sort of period, right? Which can be an awkward period to be in a mid-sized corporation.
Apparently, it was Fuse Soft that you're thinking about.
Fuse, yes, it's Fuse.
I think we can tie that one off with the bow at this point in time, right? In terms of that particular aspect of the changes.
Do you want to talk? Coming back to the carriers, actually, real quick.
Okay.
I do want to note as well for people that this time around, there is going to be new fighters introduced.
Oh yes,
I say new. There are going to be Navy or fleet variations of light and support fighters. So you're talking about the light attack and the air assault or air superiority fighters, as well as your E-War fighters. There are obviously Imperial Navy, Caldari Navy, Federation Navy, and Republic Fleet variants of all three of those types of fighters. You'll be able to get the blueprints from faction warfare militia LP stores. So if you've been engaging in the faction warfare stuff, if you've been playing with the insurgencies, you'll be able to go ahead and get a bunch of these fighter blueprints. They are going to be 150,000 LP and 150 million ISK for the BP for the blueprints, and you get 10 runs of each blueprint. So that's on the Templars, the Dragonflies, the Furbolgs, the Einherjes, so your light attack. Then you get 15 runs for the air superiority fighters and 5 runs for each of the E-Wars. So you are getting a full flight and a couple of spares for each of your blueprints there. They have varying LP costs and IS costs. The 150k and 150 million is specifically for the light attack. But yeah, if you've been playing the insurgencies, you'll be able to get access to these new faction fighters, which will have more hit points than both the Tech 1 and the Tech 2, but have middling firepower and strength. So they'll be more durable, but you won't get the full effect of T2 fighters if you are already running those in your carriers. So that's just a nice little thing to be thrown to carrier pilots along with the other bits of changes we talked about earlier.
Yeah. I think that's pretty decent. Like it's not overshadowing like T2 in the way that like, some faction kind of drone or drone slash, things like that have, eclipsed T2 stuff before. Excavators. So, it's nice that they have a role and they have a function in terms of high HP, but they don't have like, they don't eclipse everything with regards to T2, which is great.
Yeah. And so with 20 minutes or so left before we 15 minutes or so till we get to our one last things maybe, but 20 minutes or so left on the show. There's one big thing I think that we haven't talked about that we really should.
I think there's a few, but like I know that there's you have unfinished business.
Oh no, this isn't even that.
It isn't even that. Oh, okay, it's something else. Okay, fair enough.
Erik has to go on time though, so.
Oh, okay.
It's the Metanox moon drill. It's the return of passive moon mining. And I think with some of the details that we've got in the notes today, we should really talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Okay.
So the Metanox Moon Drill is a replacement for an Athanor. So you can't have both an Athanor or a Tatara, the two moon mining structures. You can't have either of those and a passive drill on your moons. You have to kind of make a decision, make a choice whether or not it's worthwhile to have a slower and less efficient. Well, I say slower at a less efficient automatic passive mining, or have the active mining where you have to wait for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and then mine it manually with fleets and what have you. The efficiency rate of these is specifically 40%. So over the same time period as an active moon miner, you will get 40% of the minerals and the goo that you would normally get. Obviously, ACL access to take the moon minerals out of it, but it slowly collects these over time. So you will be basically able to come back after 2 weeks and get 40% of your 2 weeks, or potentially come back after 4 days and get 40% of your 4 days. And you just throw in fuel blocks and also some of the new reagents coming from the new orbital skyhooks. So you are going to have a certain amount of these new skyhooks running in order to be able to run these passive miners. And very interestingly, these can be anchored low-sec, null-sec, and wormholes.
Yep.
Which comes back to that reagent trading that you can do live on the market. So if you've got a surplus of the specific gas or ice that the moon drill is going to want, you can throw that up on the G2 market, people can buy it from you, and they can use that to run their own passive setups across low-sec or wormhole space, which is kind of interesting. However, the really key thing that I want to touch on here is that the Metanox Moon Drill features a unique reinforcement flow. Once it has been deployed, the Metanox will not have automatic repairs like other Upworld structures. Instead, players will need to manually repair the shield and armor if it gets attacked. The Metanox has a single reinforcement cycle in hull. Once it leaves reinforcement, it will need to be repaired to 100% shield or 100% armor HP in order to fully repair itself and gain the reinforcement cycle back. It will also obviously not be able to have the service module online once it's during a hull reinforcement timer, and you will have to bring back that reinforcement cycle with that manual repair in order to be able to turn the service module back on. The Metanox does not have a damage cap like other Upworld structures, and instead behaves a lot more like an old moon mining pos prior to the Lifeblood expansion. Time is a flat circle, boys and girls. Time is a flat circle.
I mean, it's a flat circle, but what worked, still works as far as I'm concerned. If people enjoyed
it, introducing our new doctrine, pos sprays.
I mean, I still have a pos spray. Like I was a believer that pos sprays will rise again at some point. Like I'm very much a fan of a
people might be doing stupid shit with faxes again,
right? One of the things that hasn't been
might
said,
have to resub my Titan.
One of the things that has been said that that hasn't been said that I do wonder about is, it says it has to be actively repaired, but I wonder because it says shield or armor, right? I wonder whether
for the reinforcement timer you are in.
What I'm thinking is, no, because I think it's only one reinforcement. So
it's got one reinforcement
shoot through shield and armor, and then it goes to
at the same
reinforcement.
time. Then it reinforces, yeah. But
so
once
I wonder
it leaves the reinforcement timer, so it gets reinforced. You wait out the timer. Once it leaves that, you only need to manually repair the shield or the armor, not both, in order to reset the reinforcement.
And so I wonder, because it's something that happened with POSs as well, is passively, increase, like if it passively like repairs or recharges the shield. We don't know whether it will passively recharge the shield over time.
No details from CCP on that, whether or not it has passive shield regen. I'm going to assume it probably will, unless CCP have figured out a way to remove passive shield regen from everywhere.
It would be a massive departure from the way that shields behave
work literally
in the game.
Everywhere else. Yeah,
exactly, right. So it would make sense that, like, you can actively like repair it, but technically if somebody's just like knocking them down and not really coming back to actually like take them out, it could be a case of you don't even need to actually actively repair them. They might passively regen. I wouldn't recommend it, let's put it that way, but it might be possible. You never know.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, because I mean, CCP had previously said in various places, I do believe CCP Fozzy has been heard saying it at various meetups, as well as other CCPers across the years, after the Lifeblood expansion, and they switched out pauses and we got away from that. CCP had been saying that they would never again look to do manual repairs for structures. And so, we are seeing CCP kind of going, hey, actually, that old idea.
You've heard of the saying, never say never.
Wasn't a bad idea, actually, was it?
Also, it's funny because, like, I do recall in Summit meeting minutes, CSM Summit meeting minutes, that that CCP Fozzy said that CCP will never go back to active repping on infrastructure.
Yeah, it was that bit of manual changes.
That's literally what Dirk just said, but okay.
Oh, sorry, I zoned out.
different way of phrasing it, right? Like
I apologize.
Active repairs.
Yeah. My bad.
They wanted to switch over to this whole idea of reinforcement and passive.
I just wanted to
win the reinforcement and it wins, like that kind of bit of timers and all the rest of it.
I just wanted to point out who said it and where they said it. But I'm glad we're going back to that stuff, because that stuff, as far as I'm concerned, are a bunch of mechanics that really worked and really gelled with people in terms of creating and instigating interesting fights.
Yeah, and especially when you have to be, vulnerable hanging around in order to do these repairs, you do make yourself a bit of a target for other people, other groups who may want to just come along and have a fight. They don't even really care about the structure, but because you're there, they could be there. It's a nice little
I see
thing to put people in space.
I see a common thread running through all of these changes, or practically all of these changes, which is CCP want more people in space doing things where they can potentially meet other people for interesting engagements.
What a shock.
Right?
It's not like we've been saying that for years, is it? And that most of the changes prior were driving people out of space.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's no point me going there because it costs so fucking much.
Well.
And actually that brings me over to something interesting as well, because the person who we generally tend to sort of label as that person who kind of says, oh, you should go out and fight for things, even if it's, even if the fighting of it costs you way more than what you actually may end up getting from all of it. He seems to have had a turnaround in sort of his view on how EVE Online should be kind of developed, right? I'm talking specifically about CCP Brutali. right?
I am going to sidestep this one and note that Jado, we did talk about the Skyhook raid stuff. We talked about it in terms of siphoning and stuff very early on in the stream. That was like first half hour or so. So once the VOD goes up on YouTube, you should definitely check that out, because we did have a bit of a conversation about how it works, why it's going to be interesting, where it came from previously, which is like the old pos moon goo siphon mechanics. It's very parallel.
And Dirk, come on, let's not sidestep this one, because
I think the fact that Rotati on stream basically pretty much said that that CCP, including himself, really like it when a comprehensive when a collection of players, a group of players, from all areas of the game, politically, group up and basically say that there is a problem with the game and that needs to be addressed.
They didn't especially like that 2 years ago during the AT.
Exactly.
And it's 180.
It's a 180 from how Rotati approached the game and approached the community, from 2-3 years ago. Like before, it was a case of, he would basically say, "Look, we know you hate it, but it's for your own good. Deal with it." Essentially, right? And now he's coming around and saying that he's happy that people are pointing out issues with the game that they can look at and deal with.
I mean, we will see how it goes. I'm willing to give
words are cheap.
I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt, but
yeah.
I mean, they did a lot of good with the faction warfare stuff.
He also said, and although this was about like ship skins and stuff like that, immersion breaking ship skins, he did say, and I quote, "Freedom is better than my sensitive feelings."
Wow. Okay, that's a statement.
Right.
But yeah, like I will say, we've given CCP a lot of credit over the last year or so because of the faction warfare changes, the way they did things with Zarzak and the Deathless and insurgencies. We're now seeing them kind of approach nullsec in a sort of changing things, but sort of not kind of way. I am aware that we haven't really talked much about, for example, the dedicated escalations that you can get from these new sov hubs, but no doubt we'll be back here next weekend talking even more about the patch, so we can cover that then. But there's a lot of stuff in this new patch that I'm slightly skeptical of. For example, the avalanche and its fucking 1300 DPS or whatever stupid thing it is on a freighter. I mean,
it's like
really, come on.
Cargo, whatever it is, right?
But broad strokes, this doesn't look to be a bad patch. It doesn't look to be a bad expansion overall. I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt as we see how it shakes out in nullsec.
People are clearly excited about the changes to carriers, and even though I'm there thinking to myself, but that's not what a carrier is, yeah, fair enough. It's not what a carrier is, but like, I don't know. Let's see what players will make of it. I guess
if you think about traditional Blue Water Navy, carriers are always surrounded by support ships. Dreadnoughts, yes, obviously they would normally have had smaller attack boats around them to a certain extent, but carriers especially have always had kind of battle groups surrounding them. So the addition of the jump portal to take subcaps with you,
I think the jump portal
very similar in style. The jump field generator is a bit weird, but also again, you can take subcaps with you. You could take Force auxiliaries with you when you make that jump. So I think that again has some parallel. Yeah. It's really going to be it's parallel to traditional Blue Water Navy kind of roles, and I think that's probably where they were coming from when they designed it. And I think it'll be interesting to see where it goes. for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are 4 minutes to go. Eric, you said you had to go pretty much on the dot today, didn't you?
Close, you know.
I think.
I have a graduation party I got to go to.
I want to quick say that like there was also another CCPer on the stream from yesterday called CCP Gogi, I believe. I think he was the art director. I'm not 100% certain. I missed that when I was going through the actual thing. But I thought it was fucking hilarious because like in a very artistic-y kind of way, he was clearly wearing a black rollneck sweater, turtleneck sweater, with a black background. So essentially, it was just his head almost looking like it was floating in space, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, he talked about basically some graphical changes, including some changes to planet textures as well as like some planet variations as well that's coming in, which is pretty good. As always, the art team kicking ass.
So Max started us off on the one last thing. We may as well go from the bottom today. Soth, one last thing.
Basically the same as last week. If you are looking to go to FanFest, then definitely see if there's still early bird tickets. They are running out, so be fast if you want to come and hang out with us in Iceland.
Yeah, there's going to be a few of us. Some people from the show, some people from elsewhere around our various communication groups in EVE. Should be good fun. Eric?
What?
One last thing?
I'm eating peanuts, man.
He's eating peanuts. I mean...
Can't talk with your mouth full. Did you just... No. Go ahead.
All right, I'll do mine. Mine is one very small thing that is coming in with the new patch that people have been crying out forever. It's worth noting, but it's not a huge deal. Soth will like this one, though. There will be a new faction command mind link coming. It's going to be in the Guri and Malachim Zella LP stores, so that's the insurgency side from Zarzak. It's going to be giving bonuses to information and skirmish, which coincidentally is the same bonuses that the Draugr has been giving out for a long time, and people have been there going, well, I can only pick to benefit either my info or my skirm. Why can't I have both CCP? CCP have finally fucking listened. We're getting a new faction mind link, and it's gonna be cool to actually benefit some of the ships that are a bit quirky. So that was worth noting, but not making a big deal out of.
Just a quick note, Meta Show is going to be on later, so definitely check that out. And I kind of feel like next week we are probably going to be talking a little bit about Vanguard, a little bit about obviously the patch that's happening next week, and the fallout for that, if there is anything dodgy going on, as well as maybe talking about Zarzak, because I have something to say about that.
Oh dear. All right, so Barghost.
I was going to say, let's not forget mine. No.
Sorry, yes.
I'm just winding you up, don't worry. I will hearken to the final line that Mac has in this bit from the stream. At 1 hour 15 minutes, CCP Convict said, winter expansion is coming. It's coming, and I've got a feeling it's more nullsec.
It's not even summer yet.
It's more nullsec.
You and I had a disagreement about this last night a little bit, I think.
Wait,
no, it was with Jonas. I was talking to Jonas about it, and I disagree with this. I think the winter expansion is going to go somewhere else, and then they're going to come back to nullsec next summer, and they're going to wait and see what we do with these changes first. That's my bet for when CCP are going to come back to nullsec. It won't be next one; it'll be the one after.
They are definitely coming back to it. I will agree. I would say winter is a thing, but agree to disagree. Because there's a lot of, I don't want to say half-baked mechanics, because that sounds negative. Mechanics that are half of what they are planned, or at least look like they are half of what is planned to eventually be. Right. The new Sov hubs, theoretically, should get a new Sov system. They're just going to keep Intosis for the time being. And combat anoms. They're doing some play with there. They're creating some new ones. So, yeah, I see new combat anoms coming up in the next year.
More so than the ones that are coming next week.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I think we're there, Eric.
Alrighty.
I think there's one last thing that we wanted to ping or plug, which is Cartridge to Cloud. They're gonna do a special podcast episode tomorrow evening, around about the same time as the Meta Show would normally be, talking about Summer Games Fest and the Xbox Showcase. So if you're interested in games other than Eve, potentially tune in to that episode of the podcast tomorrow evening, same time as the Meta Show, which is in 1 hour from now.
Lovely.
1 hour. Meta Show.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think that concludes our transmission for today. Or does it? No,
I believe it does.
All right.
We'll
see you all next week.
How to push a button.
All right. Well, you guys are being so quiet. I like you chattering, but okay, we're out of here. Bye.
See you later.